Hi everyone, my name is Sabrina, and for my virtual field trip, I want us all to explore the Agua Hedionda Lagoon here in Carlsbad, California. Carlsbad is located in North County, San Diego, and is home to several different marine life and species. The entire Agua Hedionda Lagoon region is a 400-acre size coastal wetland that stems from the Pacific Ocean into the land here in Southern California. The lagoon itself consists of four different ecosystem habitats, those being marshlands, upland plant communities, mudflats, as well as subtidal marine systems. The Carlsbad Lagoon is home to several different types of organisms, fish, crustaceans, and hundreds of species of marine life, as well as waterfowl. There are 192 species of birds at the Agua Hedionda Lagoon alone, as well as 70 species of fish, 25 mammal species, 20 species of amphibians/reptiles, and 100 plant species. The reporting of them being endangered and threatened is an extreme call for conservancy and protection in this region. The Agua Hedionda Lagoon is fragmented by three different roadways. Interstate 5, which we can see over there in the distance, Highway 101, which is along the coast, and the Coastal Railroad that travels from San Diego to Los Angeles.
Around the world, humans have drastically impacted different natural habitats and ecosystems by habitat fragmentation, land use change, and interference with freshwater resources. The Agua Hedionda Lagoon is no exception. The Agua Hedionda Lagoon is historically fed fresh water through the Agua Hedionda Creek, which can be seen in the eastern part of this map. Due to interference with freshwater resources, possibly due to climate change and loss of precipitation, we can see that the natural ecosystem that existed here historically has diminished substantially in size. In the 1790s, this is how the lagoon looked, and these were the different characteristics of the landscape. Fresh water, which was fed by the Agua Hedionda Creek, in addition to these different landscapes which we've discussed previously. The loss of fresh water has likely had major impacts on the species that historically lived there and caused them to either have to adapt to a new environment or to migrate to a place that was more suitable to their survival, or unfortunately it could have led to their extinction.
While we are aware of several different native species that live here, there are also invasive species that have disrupted the marine ecosystems here in Agua Hedionda Lagoon. Caulerpa taxifolia is an invasive seaweed that was likely brought on due to someone dumping an aquarium into a waterway that emptied into the lagoon. As the seaweed ended up completely disrupting kelp forests that were naturally existing in the area, and eventually led to the collapsing of marine ecosystems which depended on the kelp forests to survive. Caulerpa taxifolia is a seaweed species that was engineered by humans. It was selectively bred and was the result of genetic modification that created a very vibrant green plant that was able to exist and persist in very uninhabitable habitats. The Caulerpa taxifolia seaweed actually became named a U.S. federal noxious weed in 1999. And then in 2000, it was discovered here. Due to that, it ended up invading the kelp forest that existed here, which resulted in the degradation of the entire marine ecosystem that depended on those kelp forests natively in order to survive. With that, there was an entire movement in order to eradicate the invasive species from the Agua Hedionda Lagoon, which involved the actions of the Southern California Caulerpa Action Team, otherwise known as SCAT. They decided to implement measures in order to eradicate the species, which involved the placing of tarps that were weighted at the edges and covered the entire area that they had invaded. They injected chlorine gas into that area, and it ended up killing not just the invasive species, they had reported that the species had been successfully eradicated. And then after that, native grass ended up emerging. With that, I'd like to call the class to discuss about whether we think that these measures are something that is advantageous for the management and stewardship of these kinds of marine ecosystems and how to address invasive species. So I leave that question to all of you. Thank you for joining me on my virtual field trip here at Agua Hedionda Lagoon, and looking forward to a lively discussion.